Real Estate Show with Pat Lopez, where we talk everything real estate. Today, my guest is Pat Conway of the Conway Team at Berkshire Hathaway. Pat, welcome to the show.
Great. Thanks, Pat. Thanks for having me.
I'm glad you're here. Well, I want to start things off by saying congratulations. The rankings for the Bright MLS for 2022 came out, and what they do is they, as you know, they rate or rank the top 500 realtors by volume. And you were number 15, which is very impressive.
Great. Thank you. It was a great year.
You're doing something right.
Thank you.
Okay, so what I want to talk about is what's going on in the market. What are you seeing? What are your buyers? What are your sellers telling you? Also, what do you do? What's your secret sauce? What's separating you from the crowd? But before we get into that, what is your story? How did you start in real estate?
So I started real estate. I was ready to graduate high school in 1988. And I started working for these two gentlemen from town. And they had many, many apartment rentals. And I used to go to the banks after school, high school for them, and deposit all the checks. So they took a liking to me, and I started renting their apartments. So every weekend I would go and rent a few different apartments for them. And one day I rented 4 apartments. I come home and I tell my mom, I rented 4 apartments. I would make $200 a week. I thought I was a millionaire.
Right.
It was fabulous. And my mom kept saying, please come with me, come with me. I want you to sell houses. I said, Mom, I don't know how to sell a house. I ended up getting licensed 26 years ago, started with my mom, my mentor, and the rest is history.
Now, is that when the Conway team started? Or,
Yes.
or did you have to earn? Your mother didn't let you right in right away?
No, she didn't. But it was interesting. We became one of the first mother-son teams in Philadelphia, actually, or could have been Pennsylvania.
Right.
So, but it wasn't an easy ride. I mean, I worked very hard.
Right.
You know, yet you have to work. You have to work. So, but it was good. My mom taught me a lot, and I listened, and I was her gopher. I was her go-to, and the rest is history. And you establish your own following. Right. So,
okay,
it was great.
So, how many people are on your team now?
12 agents we have on our team.
And then you're the go-to guy?
I'm the team leader now. I have the headaches. I have all the good things.
Everything. So everything falls on your lap. Phone calls ringing 24/7.
Exactly.
What do I do here?
Doesn't stop.
Right. Okay. And your book of business, primarily, where do you do your sales? What areas? What's your footprint?
I mean, I'll do anywhere in Philadelphia. I do have a team, but I'm mostly east of Broad. I do a ton of business. Queen Village, Society Hill, Penn Square, Bella Vista, Washington Square, all the different areas, Whitman, Passyunk Square.
Okay.
So we cover a lot.
Yeah, and you'll go anywhere.
We'll go anywhere.
Okay, and as far as your average seller and buyers, you primarily deal with your listing agent, primarily with sellers?
Definitely a listing agent, probably 80% listings.
Okay, and then the average sales that you do, like, what are you doing?
Sales probably around 500.
Okay, but once again, that could be 100,000, it could be 2 million.
It could easily be. Yes.
Right. So it's every place.
It's every place.
Yeah, but average around 500,000. Okay. Now there's a lot of changes going on in the market today. Especially if we look at last March, we were at 3% interest rates. Today we're in the 6s.
Mm-hmm.
So that is a big jolt to home buyers and sellers. They see that and they go a little crazy. Also, we have the banking crisis where we have bailouts with banks. And the stock market up and down. So there's a lot going on, a lot of uncertainty.
Yes.
So what are you seeing? What are your sellers? What are your buyers telling you?
So a lot of the buyers are concerned because the rates are just jumping all over the board.
Right.
I believe that will calm down. So the word is there's the uncertainty is out there, and everything else happening. I think that will ease up once the rates stabilize. And people realize there's no more 3%. This is the new rate.
Right.
And I think we'll be okay. The sellers, there's not a lot of inventory. The sellers are panicked a little bit, but I think there's deals to be made out there, Pat. I think that you'd be surprised if you make an offer to a seller. People are afraid to make offers. Make the offer. Make that offer and let's run with it. Let's see what can happen.
Right.
You just never know. Okay. Sellers that have their houses on the market today, they want to sell them.
Okay.
So
now, I had a client came to me, or actually it was a friend. It wasn't a client. Had a ton of money, from PPP and all this. He had just a ton of cash, with the banks being afraid of having over 250,000 in the bank, he could lose it. Now he's talking about he wants to, park some money in real estate because he doesn't trust the banks. Are you seeing any of that?
Absolutely. My multi-units are doing very, very well right now. They're with the stock market, they're nervous. And real estate, you can hold it and feel it and see it, and I'm doing real well.
Good. Yeah, because exactly. It's something that you can touch. Exactly. You can drive by it. You can actually see it. There it is.
There it is.
And people have to live somewhere. So if you're able to rent it out, you're good to go. Right?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, perfect. Now, as far as your secret sauce, I sort of mentioned that. You're number 15 out of 500, and there's more realtors than 500. That's just the ones that made the list because you have to do at least $5 million or more in sales just to make the list. So you're number 15. So obviously you're doing something right.
Right.
So what do you attribute that to? What is your secret sauce? What are you doing that's separating you from the crowd?
So I think the big word is communicate. I'm in the office, Pat, every day at 9:00. I work on the weekends. I have a wife and 2 little children, but I am constantly on the phone. You need to be committed to this business.
Right.
You cannot. May Acker was wonderful. May was our manager many, many years ago. And May said, if you want to sit in bed till 12 o'clock, sit in bed, but don't complain that the other guy, the early bird gets the worm.
Right.
So you really have to work very hard and communicate. I talk to my sellers. Every listing I have, I'm on the phone with them once a week.
Okay.
If there's nothing going on, I'm on the phone. Pat, I'm still here.
Right, you're still talking.
Just want to say so communicate, stay on the phone, and just stay positive.
Right.
We've been through this. This will end, and everybody will be okay. But for the new agents too, you have to hang in there. Nothing's easy.
Right.
You just stay with it.
It's a grind. And it's really key because the communication, because a lot of the newer agents are all enamored with technology.
Absolutely.
And a simple phone call. And what you said is so true. Calling once a week, even if you have nothing to say, hey, how you doing? These are the showings we had, whatever. You're still in front. You're still showing that you're working and you're communicating. Yeah.
And I personally, I'm very hands-on, Pat. I personally do that. My assistants don't do that. We have 3 assistants. They don't do that. I'm on the phone because Pat wants to hear from me. He doesn't want to hear from my assistant.
Right.
So there's a lot of things I do, but it's all comes down to working hard. I mean, I don't stop.
Right.
And I have a good life. I can do what I want.
Right.
You just keep going and work hard.
Okay. And now you mentioned that you married 2 kids.
Yeah.
And you live in Pensport, right?
Yes, exactly.
Right, because full disclosure, we used to be neighbors. We used to live a couple of doors down from each other. Yeah. That's great. That's great.
Great block.
Good. Okay. Is there anything else that you see that's going on in the market or little tidbits that you can share? Obviously, the communication's real big, but what are you seeing? What do you think going forward? Is things going to pick up? Just what's your overall thoughts?
I really think things will pick up. I mean, we've been through this. Yeah, it happens.
Right.
And just stay with it. Don't look for everything at once. And I'll give you an example. I had a rental for $700. The guy called me.
Right. People
don't want to deal with the $700 rental. I take the $700 rental. I will show it myself.
Right.
It's crazy. People say, what are you doing in your career? But I take it because that person will remember me. I build a relationship with them and I get that listing 4 or 5 years later.
Exactly.
So build relationships.
Right. It's relationships. It's the basic building blocks that you have, the foundation.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Well, Pat, thanks for being on the show.
Pat.
Really appreciate it.
Great. Nice to see you.
Long
Thank
time
you.
no see. Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Perfect. Yeah. Okay. That's the Real Estate Show with Pat Lopez. Be sure to follow the show on Facebook and Instagram and subscribe below. I have some great guests, some dynamite topics coming up. Also, leave a comment. Tell me some show topics you'd like me to cover in the future. Remember, this show is everything real estate, no limits. Hope you enjoyed the show.